a statement, and then we'll jump into questions.
Yeah, excited about going to New Orleans and playing in the New Orleans Bowl against a great opponent in Southern Miss. Went down there in 2022, had a great bowl experience. Looking forward to getting back. The bowl committee there does a fantastic job, and so it's going to be a great event, way to celebrate the end of the season. And bowls are very important, and I know our guys are very excited to go compete with Southern Miss and try to go win that trophy. So looking forward to it. With that said, questions?
Yeah, as much experience as you've had as a program going to bowls, do you have sort of a routine to get ready for these things at this point and have learned some things?
Yeah, you usually have about 2 weeks to prepare, and it hits right around the finals time, which isn't a bad thing because you finish the season, and then you kind of let the guys focus on their finals, and then the back half of that week you start bowl practice, and you really want to make sure you're doing all the right things. You're not doing too much too early. So it lets you focus, get some extra practices in, and focus on more of the finer details, lets you get some reps with some younger players that will be returning the following year. And then this week has been more, hey, this is the opponent against Southern Miss in our normal practice week, and getting ready to get ready to play them. And then we'll travel to the bowl site on Friday. So it's timed up pretty good for us.
In your experience when you're going up against a coach in the situation with an interim coach, is there more guesswork involved? Do you just kind of stick to your system? How do you
Yeah, I think, their head football coach has been a previous head coach, very successful head coach, very familiar with him. Blake's done a great job, and he very happy for him, because I think he, anytime you have an opportunity where you're at a place and then, the head coach leaves and you get to be the guy, says a lot about who you are. And he's been a very, very good coach, very successful coach. So in my eyes, you're just preparing for a really good Southern Miss team that's led by a really good staff. I don't see anything different in that way. Now, bowl games take on their own shape. Everybody has a lot more time to prepare and overthink things and look at new things and all that. So generally, you have to really think about what might they change or what might they do differently, and so but you have more time too to prepare for those things.
Didn't you do some things a little differently when you went down there with Oscar and beat South Alabama?
Yeah, again, it's all about preparation time. It lets you do a little more of a deep dive into your opponent. You're really doing all the things you normally do, maybe just different ways of doing them sometimes. And at the end of the day, football is football. And I think these are two good football teams that'll be motivated, ready to play each other. And I know our guys are excited to get ready to go play them.
Bowl season, you obviously run into that time of the transfer portal as well as the NFL draft with guys declaring maybe they possibly opt out or they opt to play in. Do you have any update on any of those players?
We've been pretty fortunate. We haven't had really any opt-outs other than we had one opt-out due to surgery, which I completely understand. Other than that, if I'm mistaken, we have pretty much our roster, and our guys are excited to play. Like anything this time of year, we're a little thin in some areas, but we have what we need to go win a football game. So this has actually been a little better year than years past. Normally I think you have more guys that maybe they were trying to go pursue the NFL career, or they were high draft picks or something of that nature that they might opt out. But this has actually been a pretty good year for us as far as having our whole football team.
The same thing can be said. You've got a couple staff members that are changing programs. Are they planning on sticking in for this game too?
Yeah, everybody's with us. Everybody's excited about the bowl. Both players and coaches, and we want to finish this thing out together, and excited that everybody's going to be there together.
We've been in a little bit of a deep freeze. We're just coming out of it. Were you able to use the new facility?
We did, yeah. We're excited. We've had a couple practices in there. It's fantastic. In my eyes, it's one of the best indoor facilities in the country. I've been in Alabama's and Tennessee's and Oregon's and a lot of them, and they did a fantastic job. We're still got a lot to do, you know, but our part of the indoor facility as far as practicing, we've been able to get a couple practices in there, and fantastic facility. Our guys are really excited to use that facility.
Now, you've always kind of been a guy that likes to practice where you play. Are you still going to use the stadium for any practices, or do you move fully into the indoor?
No, well, great. That's a great question. Because we're playing in indoors and we have access to our indoor facility, we'll be in there for the rest of the time. And one, we enjoy practicing in there. It's a new facility, and two, this time of year, you know, it's pretty cool out there, so I like being inside. And since we're going to play the game inside, it fits nicely for us.
A question mark for this game. I know Maverick is a senior. He hasn't played the last couple of weeks. Do you plan on inserting him in there at all, or are you going to roll with the hot hand with Rod?
He's always ready. We always prepare our whole room. You know, he's ready to go. I can't answer that question of will we or won't we. I can just say, he's preparing like he's a starter, just like everybody else does, and he's ready to go play if he's called upon.
You've established some continuity at that position over the years. That's given you, I would think, a base, if nothing else, because it's such an important position.
Yeah,
Talk about that
I'm glad that Rodney has the games he's got under his belt. He's grown a lot. He got thrown into the fire in some very challenging games, and I like where he currently is. He's still developing. He's still growing, but he's done very well. And love the fact too there's two quality quarterbacks in that room, because if we play a game that's a tough football game, and you never know when something may happen to one of those quarterbacks. So, like the previous question, both quarterbacks are going to prepare like they're going to start this game. But Rodney's done a good job, and I see the progress he's making daily. And so he's got a bright future ahead of him, and looking forward to him continuing to develop, because I think he's going to be a really good player.
So what does Southern Miss do well? What problems do they present?
Well, one, they're a good football team. They're a talented football team. They're an explosive offense. Again, statistically, we're about the same. We're scoring about the same amount of points, giving up about the same amount of points, giving up about the same amount of yards. But they're an explosive team that can score very quickly. They want to go fast. They got good skill players. They got a good quarterback. He's a big physical quarterback too. Got a really good arm, but he's hard to tackle. He got dinged up later in the season and had to fight through that. I'm sure he's had some time to recover and get healthier. So he offers a dynamic there that if he's healthy, he's hard to deal with. Defensively, they play a good scheme. They're multiple. They're good in the back end with their coverages, good in the run. So it's two equally matched football teams that I think is going to make for a good football game.
Obviously with the coaching change, they did keep that continuity of hiring within staff. Does that help, do you think, keep their roster together at least through this bowl game? How much of a sense are you getting of how much of that Southern Miss team you're going to see?
I haven't heard anything as far as opt-outs from them. Mainly I'm focusing on our team. I'm not probably the guy to ask. Probably some other people would say, "Hey, coach, I heard this guy might opt out or whatever," but I haven't heard really much of anything. And I think they're probably excited to play like we are. So they'll probably have what they need to go play, and we definitely will have what we need to go play.
Coach, every single year that you've been here, Western has been to a bowl game. Just tell me how important these are to you. How much important are you taking a bowl win, a bowl victory in this?
Huge. I think bowl games are extremely special. I think they're magical in some ways, because I've seen a lot of special things happen in bowl games that changes a player's stars. I've seen players that haven't played hardly any, and all of a sudden they get thrust into a bowl game and they ball out and they become a superstar. And I've seen the guys that they might have been on an NFL draft board. Maybe they were going to be an undrafted free agent, and then they ball out, and the next thing you know, they're top 3-round draft pick, you know. So I think bowl games are magical to begin with. I love going to bowl games. I think they're very special. I think they have a championship environment to them. There's nothing better standing on a podium lifting a bowl game trophy. That is a great feeling. It's the one part of college football that I think is the best part of college football. And I know right now we're kind of going through some teams that have opted out and players opting out. But, you know, people want to focus on that. But at the end of the day, more often than not, majority of the coaches and players and programs, it's a celebration of your season. And it's one last ride with your brothers and your teammates. And you'll remember this game for the rest of your life. And so the majority of college football thinks college football games are very special. And we certainly do that here at Western Kentucky. It means a lot to us. When you walk into our football facility, there's big banners hanging there of bowl wins and all those things. That means a lot to us. So it is extremely important for us to go down to New Orleans and try to go win the game. If we're not there just to say, hey, we're in a bowl game or we're going to compete. We're trying, just like Southern Miss is, we're trying to hold that trophy up in the air, and it is special to us for sure.
How many bowl games did you play as a player? Did you compete as a player?
That's a good question.
2 or 3?
Like 2 or 3, yeah, 2 or 3.
U of H?
U of H, yeah. As a coach, I've been in a lot of them. A lot of bowl rings. You were asking a question about. In my office at the house, I got a deal where I keep all my bowl rings, and they sit out, and there's a lot of great memories there, you know. And that, I think young people, you know, I'm getting to an age where all of a sudden I see a trophy in my office, or I see a ring in my office, or I see a bowl game poster in my office, and it brings back memories, and very fond memories. And when you're young, sometimes you don't think about it, but you know, these guys, they'll be talking, these players 15, 20 years from now will be talking about, man, I remember when I got my bowl ring from whatever bowl it was, and they'll have fond memories too. And that's what makes bowl games so special, you know. I certainly appreciated all the ones I was in.
And your last one down there was one of those games?
It was a good one. I'd like to recreate that. It'd be nice. But they're a good football team too, so I expect a really good game.
What's the best or most unusual swag you've ever gotten for a bowl game?
Oh, great. Oh, man. I don't know. There's been a lot of unique things. You know, you've been in some bowl games where, like, the Texas flair, where you might get cowboy boots, or you might get a cowboy hat or a belt buckle. That was really cool. Been to some bowl games where you got the first video game that hasn't even released yet, you know, that was, you know, whether it was a Madden, whatever, you know, that was pretty cool. Again, that's what makes bowl games awesome, you know, is all the things that come with them. So,
was the team able to turn the page on Jacksonville State quickly?
Yeah,
This game?
yeah. We always turn the page no matter what happens, and we all get about 24 hours to be in our feelings, and then we got a job to do. And so that's in the past. That's history. We're going to have a championship mentality going into this game, and try to go out there and go win it, and have a big win to ride off into the sunset for the 2025 season. So
Jack State got CUSA off to a good start.
yeah, 1-0 Conference USA.
So
That was
at
awesome.
At this point, do you root for each other? Are you trying to see that brand represent?
Yeah, I was rooting for Jacksonville State last night. I watched the game and didn't get to see the whole game. Got to see till about middle of the third quarter, but was pulling for them. You know, like anything, we're all friends in this business. Charles Kelly and I, the head coach of Jacksonville State, worked together at Tennessee. Love him to death. Have tremendous respect for him and his football team. And so, yeah, I want Conference USA to do well. So I was pulling for them for sure.
We'll have a new opposing coach in Springfield next year.
What's that?
We'll have a new opposing coach in Springfield.
Yeah. So this is a competitive conference, man. I said it going in. Nobody wanted to believe me. I said there's a lot of parity in this conference. It's anybody's game, and it was this year for sure. So I don't expect it to continue to be that way. I think our conference has done a great job of putting this league together. It's a up and coming league for sure. That's a lot of parity, and I think a lot of our teams will be household names in the next couple of years. Western already is. We're already a recognizable brand. We're a national brand, but if you're going to talk about a Jacksonville State or a Delaware or a Missouri State, those are going to be names that continue to grow. Yeah, yeah, you're going to hear a lot about those names.
You know, but that being said, it feels like I believe all of your road games were against bowl-eligible opponents.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you guys are battle-tested for a game like this in the stand.
Yeah, well, we like. We've always been that way. We like going on the road. We like competing on the road. This game will be no different. Speaking of that, I think we got another Conference USA. We got a Delaware and Lafayette tonight, right? So be another one. Yeah, it'll be a good one for sure.
You know, you kind of alluded to just like the whole entire bowl experience. I mean, you're not just going down there to play a game and leave. I mean, you're leaving on Friday, so you do have a couple of days to prepare. But also during that like whole entire bowl experience, you do kind of have the players get integrated into where you're playing and kind of the culture down there. What is that kind of experience like for players to be able to go to new places?
Well, it's great. You know, this team's been very unique because we had so many new faces, and I do a lot of player meetings after the Jacksonville State game, and I sit down with every player, and I've had several players say, "Coach, this will be my first bowl game. I'm really looking forward to this experience." So that excites me as a coach. But obviously, being down there in 2022 and how good a job they did, it's a vibrant city. You're right there. Great culture, great food. There's so much to do there, so that's really cool. We'll get to go to the Saints facility to practice. That'll be a neat experience for the guys as well. You get to play in the Superdome. You know, that's always a fantastic arena to play in. So the guys are really excited to be a part of that. And again, it kind of makes it kind of a championship atmosphere for you. And so it goes back to my original statement about how important bowl games are and what it means to both coaches and players. All right, guys, thank you. Merry Christmas, guys.
Safe travel.